Hey Freya, what percentage of my revenue came from discounted invoices and what was the average discount percent on them?
The total revenue from discounted invoices is approximately 1,873,000 rupees. Revenue from discounted invoices makes up roughly 0.021% of your total revenue. The average discount on these invoices is 8.75%. This shows that only a very small portion of your revenue comes from discounted invoices, with an average discount of just under 9%.
Now this is how you do smart business with the Refrens AI.
Okay, I did not attempt a live demo because I don't want to goof up the way Gautam did it, So, I'm Naman, I'm the founder of Refrens. We are building accounting and ERP system for businesses around the world, currently focused on SME businesses and slowly going up market. The largest business we have is like a 2,000 crore market cap public listed company. There are about 11,000 businesses who pay us to use and about 1 lakh businesses who use the free version from about 140 countries. The demo you just saw is the first voice-based AI on our accounting software in the world. It was built in about 15 days with 1 engineer. What we are going to talk about today is not how to build AI. I think there are more engineers in the room who can help with that. I'm going to talk about the founder's dilemma of moving to AI. Okay? We'll do a quick show of hands first. How many of you are SaaS founders here? Okay. How many of you are SaaS founders looking to move towards AI? Okay. Almost every SaaS founder. So, I'll start with our journey. Okay, so we are trying to build an ERP system. Now, you can imagine an ERP system is a lot of clicks and tabs and menus, right? So, to do one action, you probably need to do like 5 clicks. And the general question on a support line would be, how do I do X? The support guy says, go here, then click this, then go to that menu. In the second button, you'll click and you'll reach where you want to. So we wanted to implement a navigation, a search-based navigation. Very simple search-based navigation. We will index every link that we have on the system and somebody should be able to type and an auto-suggest will come up. No fancy AI. But the engineer who was tasked with this, he thought this is very boring. So he implemented a AI-based navigation back in November of 2023. Now that navigation worked about 90% of the time, but it was costly because AI, right? And I was like, AI is all cute and it works, but we are talking about accounting, right? We are not talking about creating fancy videos where, you could be almost there, but, and it is acceptable. In accounting, you have to be 100% correct. Like the demo that you saw, if I show it to a real user in India, I'll say that it is wrong because they said rupees in millions. Okay. Now, a system should already understand that rupees in millions is wrong way to present the data. Okay. The demo that my engineer showed me in November of 2023 was very similar. And then we had more things to focus on. We said, Joe, whatever is working, let's focus on that. Let's not get into AI. And then 2024 was all FOMO. Everybody was getting funded for AI and we were not getting funded. So we said, maybe we'll try it, but next year. Okay, we did not have a clear use case of accounting. There are OCR-based systems that have been using AI forever, but apart from that, there was no clear AI use case in accounting, and it almost felt like we are we are looking for a nail with a hammer in the hand. So we did not pursue that. Fast forward to Feb of 2024, a kid enters our office. Kid, as in this guy is like 20-year-old. He said, oh, by the way, I'm from Surat. Okay, so second founder from Surat of AI. So in Surat, a kid walks into our office, says, I've heard there are good opportunities in this office for internship. I already have an internship offer in Bangalore, but for obvious reasons, I don't want to be in Bangalore. So this guy, I asked him, what do you do? So he says, for like every other engineer, vibe coding and I can do things in AI, etc. We gave him all our data, like our internal subscription data, and we said, give me an analysis of this. Find out our ARR, find out our ACV, etc. of this, because I had like an investor presentation in few days. I was like, if he cannot understand what is ARR, ACV, etc., he will not be able to deliver anything in accounting. This guy took about, one week odd with Excel sheets. He did whatever was asked for without doing anything in AI. Now this guy was sitting, and we recalled the project that we had done in November 2023. We hooked him up with that engineer, and they came up with this solution that you saw. Now that 18 months of dilemma is what I see a lot of founders still facing. I have something working out. I am not sure where we want to go, but it seems that the world is moving towards AI, so I must move. If you've heard what Vishal was saying in the morning, they already had a working product. They had about 30,000 users using their Figma to code system, but then they realized that this is just going to be just one prompt in the new AI world, and that is where they pivoted. And that is where we also thought we need to reinvent how we are thinking about AI. So before we get into more details, we'll talk about some basic technology understanding that we learned on the way. So our biggest challenge was, this is financial data. We cannot be giving it to somebody else. Like, I'm not going to build my own LLMs. I'm not going to build my own system. So how do we give it to somebody else? What we are doing is a simple, speech to text conversion. Text, then we do a NLP processing. The user query is generated in text format. We do a query decomposer that basically identifies the intent behind the user's query, and then there is a supervisor agent that that controls the flow, and then we have individual query for querying the database, individual agents for querying the database, for searching the knowledge base for support related queries, and the navigational thing that we had originally built, and then all of this is aggregated, and the response goes in voice or in text the way you want to. We are live for 2 languages with like 99% accuracy right now, and we are attempting to do all the languages in the world. So this is how it works. These are the typical kind of queries that people ask us. What's the average payment time across invoices this year? Which of my leads delivered highest conversion rate? Which sales reason is underperforming, etc. Now these are simple queries. Typically these queries are asked by a founder to an accountant or a typical data analyst, right? Now, I'll come to why, accountants and CAs are a little funny thing in this whole business, okay? But there are some queries that we are not able to answer, okay? So, for example, which of my services are driving profitability? Now, if I know your invoices, but I don't know which expense belongs to which project. So, if the user has not tagged their data, I cannot be giving them answers. But we're very surprised that people are actually asking these very subjective questions. Which expenses can I optimize? Now, AI cannot answer that for you. Typically, a junior accountant also cannot answer that for you, right? Now, these are the queries that we'll, now starting to build on. Basically training the user to tag the data from day one, so that in future, when they need all these insights, AI can help. Now, talking about the founder's dilemma again, what we need to do in AI world is stop building for the solutions that are already there, okay? And we have to build in the same direction, but a more fulfilling solution. Now I'll come to, what that means, okay? So this is a typical stakeholder profile of an accounting, platform. A salesman needs to create a quotation, send a pro forma invoice. Then an accountant needs to enter all their expenses. Then a CA, CFO, they look for compliances and they look for, preparation of reports, etc. The entrepreneur will look for insights. The investor or the bank, they will look for your inventory reports and valuation reports, etc. And then the government will need all your TDS, TCS, GST, income tax data, right? Now, when you imagine each of these stakeholders, what traditional accounting softwares have been able to do, okay, is, when I say traditional accounting softwares, Tally obviously came in 1990s, typically designed for your accountant and maybe the CA, okay, but you'll be surprised that most CAs have never looked at your balance sheet. Before signing, they've never looked at your balance sheet, okay. I've invested in about 25 companies. I have been on the board of a public company, and you'll be surprised, how disconnected the data in Tally is versus how the business runs, okay. So what typically happens is you have one Excel sheet report that the entrepreneur is looking at, where a junior intern or somebody is updating that report regularly, that you call the MIS. You have the CA who is basically a representative of the government. Your GST, TDS, income tax reports should go on time. They don't care about anything else because the data, when it enters Tally, it is so distilled that it cannot give you any insight. If you ask which of my sales reasons are performing better than others, which of my sales people are performing better, what is my quotation to invoice ratio, none of this is possible, right? And your accountant is only bothered about one thing: how do I make the data entry faster? Okay. So when you say data entry faster, OCR has been there for long, AI-based solution, and AI has made OCR a little more accurate, So with the help of LLM, the context is, the context is more recognizable, so the accuracy is higher. Now, when we are building for AI for the entrepreneur, we are saying, can I give you a personal CFO in your pocket? Now, what does a personal CFO mean? If you traditionally look at business families, if a son joins a business, the father acts like that CFO. The son will come up with new ideas, but the father will be that balancing check, right? Saying this decision is wrong. The CFO basically is the guy who looks at the trade-off between money and rest of the value. So if you want to hire a person at 50,000, CFO has to approve it. You want to take a new warehouse on rent, CFO has to approve it. So they understand the value trade-off between rupees and non-immediately quantifiable things like manpower or warehouse, etc. And the second thing that we are attempting is, can we close your books of accounts in 1 hour per month? Today it takes about 80 hours per month for a 10 people organization to close their books. This is a typical flow. Business needs to send quotation invoices to the client needs to send payment, then there is a payment reminder, then there is TDS, there is GST, same thing on the vendor side, then there is reconciliation with the government, your GSTR 1, 2, 3 reports. How many of you understand GSTR 1, 2, 3? Wow, very nice. Government has taught us almost everything now, right? So again, and now this doesn't even include your investor flow. This thing today takes 80 hours. Okay, and this is what we are trying to reduce to 1 hour per month. The way we are measuring is, we run a small accounting services lab within our company. We have about 20 clients in that lab, and we measure saying, last month if we closed their books in about 15 hours, this month did we save a little, okay? For reference particularly, I have a family member looking into our accounts, and we measure how much time did they spend doing accounting on reference. Okay, and the idea is, in the next 3 years, can we reduce it to 1 hour per month? Okay, nowhere in the world this is happening right now. A lot of people are promising to do it, but the data is not in a format where you can do this. And again, you cannot be 99% correct, right? We had a very lame thing going on. In the last demo, I did a live demo the last time I was talking, and we have paying customers from 140 countries, and they pay us almost in about 50 currencies. And the AI actually added up 2 different currencies, right? So USD 10 was added to rupees 1000, and it said my revenue is 1010. And that number was so close to the real number, I did not even have a way to figure out, if that is right or wrong. So that is the challenge we are facing. So I'll talk about, how many of you are here because of FOMO? Please be very honest. मेरे को AI का नया आइडिया नहीं मिल रहा है, मुझे पता है AI में कुछ बनाना है, but नहीं मिल रहा है. Lots of hands in the back. FOMO. Okay. I'll give you an example from another world and see if you can find your AI thing. So for us, when we were thinking in 2023, we were saying, how do we make accounting faster? Which meant, how do we make it easier for the salesman, easier for the accountant, easier for the CA, CFO, etc. Right? And these are the use cases that we came up with. Saying there will be OCR at some places, there will be, reconciliation will have some intelligence, and there will be always on Copilot that will prompt you when you do some mistake. Okay? And now when we are rethinking about all these things, we are saying, can we close everything in 1 hour? Okay? Now let's imagine e-commerce world. Anybody knows Craigslist? Craigslist, sabko pata hai? Craigslist, okay. So Craigslist is like the original OLX quicker of the world. Craigslist was the first thing, a listing platform for anything that you want to sell. Next came eBay. When payment gateways were possible, eBay came in and they said, we will not only list, we will help you buy it. Okay. Next came Amazon, they said, we will ship it for you. And then came private label saying, we will manufacture and ship it for you. Okay. Now, if you look at the journey of Zomato, we will show you the menu. This is back in 2008. Then between 2010 and 12, they attempted multiple times trying to deliver food. That is where Food Panda also came in, right? And then in 2015, because of mobile and because, taking a loan on a two-wheeler, second-hand two-wheeler was cheaper, delivery was finally possible. So it's the same value chain. In our case, the value chain is doing your accounts perfectly and getting insights for the entrepreneur. For the food ecosystem for consumers, it's the same value chain saying, it's 9 p.m., I want my food. So instead of just looking at the menu, we will also deliver and maybe we will also make that food. Swiggy actually had their own in-house restaurants doing that, right? So when you're looking for an idea in the AI world, please don't look to solve problems in a more efficient way. That is not the way to do it. If you say, how do I do it 10x, meaning the end statement remains same, closing my books, but how do I do it 10x is I will deliver the food, right? In mobile world, how many of you were still active in 2012, 13, 14 trying to build a startup? Okay, some old people here. So during that time also, a lot of people were saying, whatever is happening on the desktop world, we will try and replicate in the mobile world. So for example, OLX Quicker. Now OLX Quicker typical use case was if you want to sell something, you will install the app and once it is sold, you will uninstall the app, right? So a lot of installation was happening. VCs were excited, but then after 2 months, a lot of uninstallations were happening, right? So if you look at things that are almost 80% solved in the desktop world and you say, I will do it on mobile, it will not work out, okay? But if you start thinking fresh, saying what is it that is not possible at all right now, or what is it that is possible, only like 20% of the times. For example, ordering food was possible from a desktop where you couldn't have GPS and you couldn't track, right? And when mobile came in, it made everything more efficient. I'm not sure if how many of you followed, but there was a company called Tiny Owl, and then there was Swiggy, and one of these companies was active only on mobile. Okay, and most developers who would order food in Bangalore, they would order from their desktop, and that website wasn't available. So I think one of the reasons where the adoption was less. Anyways, when you're looking for AI-based thing, where can I implement AI? Look at business solutions where you can deploy a human with 15 days of training. If you can deploy a human who is say a high school graduate or a college graduate in 15 days of training, and they can do that work with 80% efficiency. I mean, they are right 80% of the time with 80% satisfaction score. If that is possible, AI can replace that human, and that is a great way of implementing that thing. So I'll tell you how, we are selling to SMEs, right? And I have like last 2 minutes, then we'll take some questions. Selling to SMEs in India is the worst kind of startup to build, okay? I'll give you 4 or 5 examples and why, okay? So IndiaMart has a 4,000 people team to do 1,200 crore rupees of revenue. Just Dial at its peak had about 7,000 people. Vyapar, I think, Vyapar's team is also here. They, I think, have about a 1,300 people team with 3.5 lakh active customers, right? So hiring that kind of team means that you cannot scale overnight, right? You cannot do like a DIY website and saying, oh, because my tool is live, you go click, click, click and buy. That does not happen with SMEs in India. If you realize that all restaurants are SMEs and the number of people, feet on street that Zomato or Swiggy has just to onboard these restaurants, right? That makes this whole building of a SME focused startup very, very difficult, and no VC likes it, okay? Where, this is like the major problem. The internal use case that we are trying to solve for is, we have only 40 people calling team versus Vyapar. Vyapar is like a good player in the same segment, obviously like about 100 times larger than us. We are now implementing voice AI, looking at the same thing, if I can train a human in 15 days to call up the customer, understand the intent, whether they want like a light solution in accounting or they want a full-fledged ERP, even AI can do that, right? And we think that, 40 people team will reduce to about 5 people team if we implement it nicely, okay? So in case you are looking for ideas, please look for those kind of use cases. Sure, that's my time. Any questions?
Hi, myself Shashank Singh. I'm a senior software engineer at Computer Center. I wanted to understand how are you able to convince BFSI clients actually to work on AI, because they're very skeptical since it's a financial data.
So, to be clear, we don't have BFSI as our clients. We have SMEs as our clients. Typical clients are, you know, a 20 people software services company or a 50 people manufacturing company, etc. The BFSI layer in our system actually comes here if you look at the bank. And we are still trying to convince the bank. And the problem is not with AI or not AI. In the last 2-3 years, if you've seen, you know, a lot of, so if you are a bank, basically you are a franchisee of RBI, and RBI has this responsibility of, saving our country from collapsing. So a lot of fintech companies were banned for 1 year or 2 years, all the large unicorns, right? And one company that was actually trying to solve what we are trying to solve, their APIs were also taken away. Okay, and this has nothing to do with AI. It is just very poor KYC from the banks. Okay, but otherwise, BFSI today is embracing AI. I mean, at the start of the month, we were all at GFF in Mumbai, and you will be amazed that everybody in banking, right from the head of technology to head of sales, everybody speaks AI. They understand what is latency in voice, right? So this has never happened before. Not when we were moving to mobile, not when we were moving to desktops. This has never happened before.
Right. I work for HSBC as a contractor, so I was keen to know on that part. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi. Firstly, thank you for that thought-provoking session today. The whole journey of finance from Tally to where we are today. So my question is, there is a lot of conversation in the accounting world on the impact of blockchain and how it will change the future of accounting, where both accounting and audit will happen simultaneously. Where do you see AI fitting into a blockchain environment in future to make the life of an entrepreneur easier and that of an accountant far more effective in ensuring that enterprises fulfill their compliances?
Okay, so I'm not sure if I could, answer that very nicely. My understanding of blockchain is in two forms. One is distributed ledger, and one is your non-fungible tokens, basically tracking that this particular money moved from X to Y. Okay. If the RBI adopts your CBDCs, okay, that will automatically get accounted in a software, right? So if we are talking about blockchain in your central bank digital currencies, it will have zero impact on accounting. Okay, because in accounting it doesn't matter whether you are accounting for rupees, for digital rupees, or for 2 pieces of laptop, right? There will be zero impact. The parallel auditing thing, right? When somebody enters some data, it has to be audited then and there. This is what we are working towards. Okay, but I'm not sure if there will be any use case of blockchain per se, or if, again, for lack of understanding, I would say if blockchain would make it more efficient. I'm not sure of that right now.
So basically my question is, when we try to scale for the next level, then there are many challenges like account disabling and WhatsApp API got banned. So how do you tackle for this situation, and how do you connect with the Meta and all to fix these issues?
Can you come up with the question again? What blocked? Sorry.
For example, in the finance sector, if you do broadcasting, then your number might penalize or disabled by Meta or Facebook. So you cannot do and the broadcasting for the growth level. That's why from the last 5-4 years, virtual number will be using for that. So how do you tackle this issue to not ban your...
Okay, so we are not broadcasting per se in our system, but we get a lot of these spam users. Okay, your typical fraud that, somebody will email you saying something, your computer has been hacked, please pay $250 if you want to, unlock your computer. That happens on our system. We still get about 2 to 3 users every week who try to, impersonate using our platform. We've been called up by Hyderabad police once because somebody scammed somebody selling a KFC franchisee. Now the funny thing is that user A goes to a website, applies for a KFC franchisee, and then pays to the other party. And Andhra police calls us because the invoice was sent from Refrens platform. They did not call up the bank, they did not call up KFC. We tried to contact KFC saying, some fraud is happening, and they said, sir, agar burger kharab hai to please customer support pe call karo. Anyways, so frauds are not stoppable right now, and you'll have to do it manually. That is all I can say, okay? Because we've tried stopping frauds in an automated way, and we ended up blocking a lot of our power users, okay? So either we spend a lot of energy in that direction, saying, oh, we'll implement AI to block frauds, or we will put a low-cost human there, and we'll say, yaar, kuch bhi agar suspicious lage, to ek bar block kar dena. That's all. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. So please stay back. We have a token of appreciation. Let's have Mohit back on stage to hand over the token of appreciation, please. Thank you. Thank you so much, Naman, for enriching your knowledge towards this. Quite an insightful session indeed for all of us. So put your hands together if you felt this session was knowledgeable and inspiring for all of us. Thank you. Well, here's a token of appreciation, a gesture of gratitude from the entire team of AiSensy to Naman. Let's give it up. So yes, we are quickly going to be having